I was just getting my hands in the dirt. Feels good. Yeah, some things did very well. In fact, a lot of things actually did well. It was a challenging growing year. And this is a new garden. There was nothing here in the spring, nothing. It was all lawn. Now it's a vegetable garden with raised beds and wood chip paths. Amazing.
Juicy.
And this is our rabbit fence. We have quite a few rabbits cohabiting the property with us. And this worked quite well. And the material was recovered from the little cedar woods on the other side of the house. We cleaned out the dead wood and ended up with all the material for the posts and the rails and the fence. And this is a winter squash that did super well and then struggled and then started to die and then came back to life. Yeah, nice. But they're not ready to harvest. There'll be another month anyway. And then potatoes, bed of potatoes, which are looking sad, but they're still alive. Strawberries.
So these strawberries are descendants from the strawberries that Mishka bought when he was 8 years old? 7?
Yeah, something like that. That's for you.
Oh, thank you, sweetie.
And these went from Side Road 17 to Shaw's Creek and then to Inglewood for 2 years. And then this spring, when we made these beds, we brought about 20 or 25 plants. And they produced quite a nice crop in this early summer. And then they went quiet, and then they made a bunch of babies, and then they came back, and they're still flowering. They're ever-bearing. It's a bit of a competition. There's other critters that like strawberries, slugs and chipmunks. We had good luck with beans this year, edible beans, which we enjoyed for weeks. These are fine. I have a lot of beans in the fridge that I need to eat, so I'm not picking any more right now. I'm going to wait till they get bigger. These are Scarlet Runner beans, but it's the pole beans we're after, but that one's too big. I'll leave that for seed next year.
And the hummingbirds enjoyed this fence, huh?
Oh yeah, you've got hours of hummingbird video along this fence line. Yeah, it looks great. Things struggled a bit because the soil was not balanced, low on nitrogen. We're living in a gravel pit. This is a future gravel pit. We're right next to a mega pit. It's gravel, a gravelly soil with lots of stones, sand, silt, and clay. and very little carbon in it, or humus, organic material. So this is a raised bed, recycled from a deck that we built 10 years ago on Side Road 17, which was made from reclaimed trusses that were kicking around the farm. It's had several incarnations, and now it's a lovely raised bed intended for salad greens and strawberries, I guess, because we needed a place to put the baby strawberries that were overcrowding in the other strawberry bed. It should be up. This is blackberry, and it likes to grow like flat. It's fine. And then it roots wherever it lands. It sends out little roots, so it turns into a monster if you don't make it behave. And they get really long, you know, they get like this long. And these we transplanted from Side Road 17 because they were part of the original planting that we did along with the strawberries. This is raspberry, which are nice. They're nice raspberry, really, a nice big juicy raspberry. We were picking them at the farm. There's still a lot of this left. And we even had some fruit. Right, we had, you know, like a week or two of picking raspberries. This is blackberry. Anyway, and they got really vicious thorns on them. Oh, see, this tree is doing fine. We transplanted this a few days ago. It was growing in a bin of potatoes.
Yeah.
I think we got all the potatoes. This one also was fine. Even this guy is okay. He looks a little sad, but you know, he went through quite some heavy shocks, but I think he'll come back. We should go see the sunflowers. They look good. Wow. That's a bee, but it's not a honeybee. Sunflowers are really brilliant. They have a brilliant strategy. They just keep flowering and flowering and flowering and flowering. This is an old apple. I would say it's wild. They're really like a crab apple, you know. I mean, you could do something with them, but you'd have to add a ton of sugar. They have a lot of flavor, but they're not sweet. Very healthy. And you could cut this down and do a bunch of grafting. It's already a very well-established root system. So rather than cut it down and plant something else, you would cut it back and then graft onto the branches with different varieties. You just buy scions first year whips or cuttings that you get from whatever variety of tree you want, and then graft it. You know, you can graft onto branches like this one, you know. That would be interesting. Or some dwarf fruit trees along here. You could grow apple, pear, pawpaws. You're not familiar with pawpaws? It produces a fruit like this size, which is, quite tasty. And they're native. They're not to North America. And they grow in this climate, but you don't see them around much. They're not commercially available. As you can see, this is a wet property. One of the main features is this pond, which is man-made, but it was already a wet area. Now invaded by Phragmites reed, which is not local, very dominating. So these are the Phragmites, and you can see they get pretty tall, 2 meters, 3 meters even. And they spread through roots and seed, both. There's a tribe of blackbirds, red-winged blackbirds, that nest in the reeds. The first year we came here, this area was mowed right down to the edge of the pond. And mowing was a bit hazardous. And then last year we took over the mowing, and it's turned into a beautiful wildflower garden. This is Joe Pye weed, which is well loved by butterflies and moths. It's attracting still a lot of attention. It flowers for a long time. It's been flowering for like 6 weeks or something. Anyway, it was a beautiful display. It's been very nice to see it. And the other stuff that we left was Viper's bug loss, this stuff, which is pretty unpleasant when it's gone to seed. It's kind of scratchy. The bees love it. So this area, Anna May has mowed diligently, so it looks like lawn. But that's nice. Look at that. I've actually spent an enormous amount of time sitting on this dock and just enjoying this spot, just loving it. Totally loving it as it changes through the seasons. Even day to day, the wind changes, the surface changes. It's a good pond for contemplation, if you want to contemplate things. Yeah, this was another little project we did like very recently. This was a shortcut access from the front of the house to the back of the house with a wheelbarrow. Otherwise you had to go all the way around the garage with a wheelbarrow. So this was a shortcut, but it was, as you can see, it was a slope like this, so it was a bit tricky to negotiate when you had a wheelbarrow full of something. So I had this material, all this stuff recovered from various places, and built a little retaining wall and filled it with wood chips that were dumped here by a company that was working up the road doing some work, and we asked them could we get a load of chips, and they said God love you, and a few hours later we had a huge pile of wood chips. So we used them generously. These perennial beds, we've left them more or less untouched, except to pull a few of the more aggressive weeds out. And take all the dead stuff out in the spring so things can get a fresh start. So lots of phlox. Yeah, black-eyed Susans, more phlox, weed. It's a mixture of grass, which is not very attractive, and this ground cover, which is fine, and the globe thistles, which I like. I like them. They're not terribly aggressive, you know, like they're not like Canada thistle and or there's other ones that turn into this puff of thing, you know, they just go. This is all lilies, which are done, finished, but they're fine. You know, they did well. This, I think this is Solomon seal. Flowers hang down, little flowers. That's nice. Mountain ash. There's one off the back deck as well. And they're a nice tree, but it's being shaded out by the maple behind it. This is a Manitoba maple, I believe. It's considered a weed tree for the most part. It's not great firewood. It's not used for lumber or to make furniture. And if you try to cut it, it regrows from the roots. It's very difficult to get rid of once you have it. But you can tap it. It's a maple. You could tap it. The sap is not as sweet as sugar maple, but it does produce sap. So here's an oak tree. Which is, you know, again, being choked out. It's trapped between the cedars and the Manitoba maple. You know, it grows a lot slower. This might be a 40 or 50-year-old tree, even considering. Anyway, short of removing the Manitoba maple, there's not much you can do to help this tree out. Or take out all the cedars on this side, so it's a struggle. Competition. There's our rose bush. Fall over. They get too tall. This is a ground cover. It's mostly just green. You know, it could go. There's a nice hosta. The lilies I'm okay with. These iris are a bit confined. They'd be much more productive if they have some space. If we could dig them up, spread them out, and give them some room, they would put on a nice display. But right now they get crowded out by this. I mean, they have nice flowers, nice blue flowers, but they're pretty aggressive. It's a nice crop of scarlet runner beans. Eh? That's enough seed for next year. That's all I need. Yeah, the nasturtiums were doing great, and then they just kind of gave up, disappeared. That one's still surviving, but it was in the shade. It's looking for, it's grew towards the light. We're all growing towards the light. We can't help ourselves. But some of us, it just takes a little longer. And this has worked out well. Look at them, they're way up there. been fun to like stare out of our bedroom or our office and see the beans. Sometimes you catch a hummingbird up there. Yeah, that part's been great. It's high maintenance. Takes a lot of time to keep it happening. I'm not going to do it again. I'll do something else somewhere else with the beans. That's going to be easier to control and maintain than this. This was nice. It was a great idea, but yeah, it's just way too much work. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's the kind of stuff I like doing. Training plants. It's a very enjoyable activity, and then being able to get to eat the results of your training. First couple of years, I was scrounging for every square inch of planting area that I could get to grow things. But now that we have a real garden, I can just let things go to looking after themselves. Like that's going to be a nice bed of hostas. Next year we don't have to do anything. We don't have to touch it or deal with it at all. Don't plant anything there. Just leave them alone and they'll be fine. So, anyway, I'm getting hungry. I need to eat something.